Well, hello, this is John, Vintage Fisherman. Okay, I've been wanting a 450 for my collection. I finally found one that said parts real, or real for parts only. Okay, I get it. So here's a couple problems. One, I've only got one thing, the bell won't flip. Another thing, I only have anti-reverse on one, in one position. But the reel doesn't look like it's ever been used. If it has, it was used very little. So let's take it apart. Let's see where the problem is. I know it's missing this spring. I robbed that spring out of another reel. I've got a parts reel on the way to fix the parts reel. That's how I roll. Jeez, that wasn't good. We'll take this drag apart. This one's going to go on the shelf, believe it or not. It's in pretty good shape. Just got to get it mechanical here. It's wanting to be cantankerous. I'm thinking I'm probably going to find other parts broken once I get in here, and I'm going to be like, well, got to wait for that parts reel to get here now. Take the seal out, and then you can pull the entire. It's been used. I can tell by looking at the drag system. It's definitely been used. We'll put that right there. Take the handle off. Handle's in great shape. It's always a plus. There is some sand on it. We're going to take the Baitrunner handle off. These are things you'll run into on every single Baitrunner. This is standard fare here. I think these original 3-digit Baitrunners, the 350 and the 450, are the best looking ones. They were a little more compact, a little bit lighter, to be honest with you. Not in performance, just in build. They were still sturdy as all get out. Then you can take these 4 cover screws. I do not use powered drills or powered screwdrivers on these screws. You just don't want to do that. Use a good quality screwdriver too. If a screw's really stuck and it's a Phillips / straight, use a straight to unstick it, and then run it out with a Phillips. This reel's in really good shape. It was barely used. Probably on a pier or on a boat because there's no sand in it. But there's not a lot of boat rash. Boats beat reels up. Okay, it's a bushing reel, but it's going in my collection, so I'm not overly concerned about that. All these shims, keep them together. No rust in it. Let's take the Baitrunner clutch out. A little crunchy on the inside. A little crunchy. And then just pop that out of there. We'll clean it good. Now let's rotate this around. Got some old grease in it. We'll take this retainer off of here. Something don't look right down in here. Something might be broke. Man, that thing's got some old ass grease in it. Excuse my language. We'll pull the shaft out. No, it's there. I thought the Baitrunner clutch was broken, but it's there. So we'll pull the main gear. We'll pull the crosswind and crosswind block, the inner bushing, or non-handle side bushing for me, because the retaining nut's gone. Somebody's been into this reel. The retaining screw's gone. I'll have to find one of those. God, people, if you don't know what you're doing, leave reels alone. Just put it down till you find out how to do it right. But if you take a screw off, I ain't too sure if this didn't have a whole retainer on it, but we'll deal with that. But okay, so somebody's been into it. Right here's why the anti-reverse wasn't working. They didn't have it locked on to that. Watch what happens when you put it on there correctly. Now it works. Okay. We'll keep taking it apart here. I always leave this piece together. It can clean up just fine like that. Flip the anti-reverse off. That piece comes off. We got 3 retaining screws here. Take the retainer and you can pull the bearing. Got a hair stuck in it. It ain't for me this time. And it's your pinion. This actually goes over here with the rotor part, so I'll keep them together. I'm probably going to have to find a bearing for that. That's pretty much it. I don't take this off. I can clean it just like it is. We're going to pull the Baitrunner section down. Take your hook tool, go right down in there. Maybe. Okay. That's new. Don't want to come apart. Maybe it's tight. That's what it is. The Baitrunner tension was tight. Still don't want to come out. There it goes. You go down there and you'll hook right below this piece and just pull it out. Then you can pull the knob out. Everything on this sucker's tight. Alright, we'll stop here for a second. Very gently. Very, very gently. Take that off of there. That's a trim piece. Don't lose it, don't break it. Then you can take your spring out, and it's got a Teflon washer. Sometimes they have a Teflon and a metal washer. This one doesn't. You can take your pliers and twist that piece, get it loose, and it'll come on out. spring, all this stuff goes down into that. Then your knob can just, okay. This kind of all fell apart. This piece comes out. The spring rides on top of that. Then you got your Baitrunner drag. There's 2 drags in this reel. I think it's a Teflon and a fiber washer. And they sandwich this. And over here, I'm going to have a little coordination. I'll take 2 these eyeglass screwdrivers. Okay, let me show you. There's a clip. Holds this cog on there, this gear. Just get on both sides of it and pop it. I've already got it. That one went really easy. Way too easy. And then I'll put these back. I keep those close at hand because I use them quite a bit. This gear comes off. Perfect example of the dimple going out, but that's not how the gear goes on there. The rounded part of the gear went in towards the housing. Then you can take that brass piece out. And then there's a Teflon washer between 2, actually, maybe even 3. That went in there like that. And that's the whole thing. We'll clean this up. Come back. I'm going to get everything ready here. Over here, this is where the problems are with this reel. I've got that spring for now. Hopefully the new reel, or the parts reel I got coming in has that spring in, because I'll need it for that other reel over there. But you've got, take this screw out of your bail wire. Good time of day. All right, here we go. Nothing wanting to cooperate there. Your roller. Uh-oh. Roller's stuck. I may have to get a hold of it with something. Well, I don't like pulling on these rollers like this. There we go. So the roller has a liner in it. The liner needs to come out. I can tell you right now, it's stuck. I've got this tapered pin that's perfect for these things. I just push that liner out. Cool. Over here, there's all kinds of problems. Something's broken here. Okay. Let's take that clip out of there. Need to rotate that clip around where I can get it out. Take that off there. Okay, so that piece was in there. I was worried it was missing, but it's in there. Maybe everything's okay. It was just missing that spring, I believe. And you take this cover off. And that spring was missing. I've got that now. So this piece comes off. And a little bitty plastic piece goes on there with a pin in it. Goes in just like that. Don't lose that piece. Don't break it either. And then you can take the screw out. Wow, that thing is in there, man. So I'm gonna be able to make a good reel out of this. I'm not switching it to bearings. I'm gonna leave it stock, I guess. I'm not gonna be using it, so we're gonna just leave it a stock reel. That comes out. Take this cover off. This is the last screw on the reel. Then you got your bell spring. I bought an extra reel for parts. And luckily, a lot of the parts that go on a 450 fit a 350, and I've got several 350s. So we're going to clean this thing up and come back and put together a nice 450. Listen, John, I'm back. Oh, gosh. Hang on just a second. Wake up here. I'm gotta turn my equipment on over here. Turn the heater on in the equipment. So I've got this 450 Baitrunner that's going into my collection. And came in missing a couple parts. I do have bearings on order for this reel, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it back together anyway, just to get it off the bench. And when the bearings come in, I'll bring it down here and put the bearings in. It's gonna take a few days to get them. I got the main bearing pretty smooth, but still not smooth enough for me. Okay, if you haven't noticed, there's a new light. It might be a bit bright for me. I don't know. Y'all tell me. Y'all can kind of see the difference between the first half of the video and the second half of the video. So if it just doesn't look right, let me know. I can shade it some. It's a 4-foot light. It's one of those Harbor Freight LEDs. And it just might be too much for this small workbench. But let's go ahead and put a reel together. It was missing a few things. When I bought the reel, it said parts only. So I knew I was in for a little bit of a tough time with it. But one of the parts it needed, I robbed it out of another reel over here. It's waiting to be rebuilt. And then I purchased a whole nother reel. So in true fashion, how I do things, I just decided to get a whole nother reel to get the parts out of, and I'll throw it into the Shimano parts bin, and life will be good. This reel was missing a couple parts, so it was worth purchasing a whole nother reel. I'll show you what it was missing when we get to those parts of the puzzle. So I put my bell spring there. I greased both sides of it because it slips back and forth underneath that cover. And believe it or not, that makes a big difference by putting that grease on there. It will definitely actuate a lot better. Why does it look like I'm missing a screw here? Pretty sure that one goes in right there. Yeah, got it. Got to make sure you're going in at an angle. So make sure you get those threads started straight. You don't want to cross thread it here. Cross thread it here, you're going to have problems. kind of a pain on these Shimanos, the way they put these screws up under like this. When you put that on there, don't over tighten it. 2 fingers tight, okay? Alright, over here, this is the part where it's missing parts. Let's hope we get it right here. First thing back in there is this little piece here. It's got the tab sticking up on it. That goes in with the tab sticking up. Right like that. It's rounded, so it only fits in there right the one way. This piece here, put a little bit of grease on it. And this little plastic part that's got the little cut, it goes in. There's a hole. It goes up inside. There's a little pin that goes through that hole, and it sits in there just like that. Get a little bit of grease on the end of that, and then set that whole part in there just like that. And then here was the spring that was missing. It goes in. Let me put a little bit of grease on top of that, because it does slide back and forth on there. And you go, and don't lose this thing, because obviously somebody took this reel apart and lost that spring right there. And that's never a good thing. Then you can put this cover on it. And we're going to hope we get all this together properly. Because it wasn't, the bail was not working when I got the reel in, but there was nothing wrong with that one spring missing. I can't imagine that was causing all my problems, but we will find out. So once you get all that done, you put this piece in just like that, and you can test it by, you see that tab should move in and out. That's what flips the bail. Once you get that in there, you know it's working properly. You put this clip back on it. I got a little bit of grease there. We'll put it somewhere. That clip, that E-clip, E-clip goes on just like that down in there. Now, you got the roller, which will go either way. A little bit of oil inside the roller, and this black bushing slides into either end of the roller. It does not matter. A little more oil on there, a little oil on there. And it slides on to there with the hat of the bushing coming back towards here. And then you got this piece here that goes in. This is what it looks like. It's got a little boss on it. It's a thrust washer basically. It goes into there, and then this goes right here. And then this screw will come in from the back side. If I were going to use this in salt water, I would put grease on those threads. It's not, this reel will probably never leave my shelf until somebody gets it after I'm dead. Notice that roller's got some grunge on it there. We'll clean that up a little bit. Just 2-finger tight that, and then make sure your line roller spins good. That's the whole rotor. Okay. Let's see, this stuff here can kind of get slid over here out of the way. I'm not going to need that for a few. Let's build this mess here. So this is all part of your Baitrunner piece. And it does, if you've got a fish on, it's going to spin pretty quick. So you want to put some grease on here. And as you put this in to the housing, it goes in with the little clip groove towards the front of the reel like that. It gets 2 of these Teflons. They don't necessarily have to be oiled or anything, but you can do them. You can oil them once you get them in there. It's not hurting anything. Also, throw this lever up like that. I see some old grease down in there I missed. Yep, look. Dang it. And then you got your cog, and it went in with that little dimple out. But that doesn't matter, because I found those things are every which way. The smooth side, smooth being it's rounded, goes in towards the housing. Then you got this clip to finish that whole stack off. It goes in like right here. And we'll have to push that down in there with some. And that's got that end of it done. I'm going to take, because I forgot to do this, take some ballistol and shoot on that Baitrunner feature. Okay, so while that's getting oil soaked into it, we've got 2 drag washers. The first one's like a felt or a fiber washer. Grease it up good. It goes in right here. Now this, like I said, this Baitrunner feature, if you've got a big fish on, it's spinning fast until you crank the reel, turn the Baitrunner feature off, set the hook, you're on this, and this thing is spinning. So grease does not hurt. And then you got this cog or star wheel goes in there. You'll notice it doesn't line up with this tab. It's not supposed to, so don't worry about that. Then you got a Teflon washer, which normally Teflon, you can use oil on it, but we're going to do grease this time. And it goes in like that. These are the washers that you set the tension from the Baitrunner feature to. You know, it is a drag, for a lack of any better term. And then you have this funny looking piece here. It's got a short tab, long tab, and it's got 2 little ears sticking up. The ears go up towards you, and a tab goes into a groove in the back of the housing, just like that. And we're going to leave that alone for a second. Hopefully it doesn't fall apart. Take your knob, tension knob, carefully put your trim ring back on it. See how much better that looks after it's been cleaned and got all the grunge off of it. Put some grease up inside of it. and take this thing here, thread it in. It'll spread that grease around on its own, so you ain't got to worry about that. Then it gets this Teflon washer, and like I said, you can oil that, it doesn't matter. And then the spring. So adjuster, Teflon washer, spring. Sometimes they have a steel shim in there. Those two ears on that last piece we put in there go into those two slots on the adjuster. That's how you adjust it. Just feed that in there, and it'll pop right in place once you get those lined up. This horseshoe goes in with a small arm that's got the taper on it down towards the bottom of the reel, and there's a groove in that rear knob assembly. It sits right down in that groove, and there it is. We'll tighten that up. Okay. All right. We'll put some grease. Let's see. Yeah. Put some grease down in right there. We'll go put one of these bushings down in here. I'm really surprised Shimano put a bushing in this reel. It's a good quality reel. I don't know. This was the only ones I know that got bushings were the early Baitrunners. So from the 4500A up, they had 3 bearings in them. And if you had the anti-reverse bearing, you got 4 bearings. And some of them had a bearing in the roller, the later models. So we put that bushing in there. That'll get changed later. Not too worried about that right this minute. You've got your pinion, and always put your seal when you got a seal, but that's not really a seal though, but we'll call it a seal. Put it out towards the outside of the reel. This will all have to come back out. That's okay. It'll give me something to do on a rainy Saturday morning. This just goes in, and I put that grease there because there's a boss in the middle of the reel there that grease needs to be in. Got this piece here. So bearing retainer goes in. Somebody had been into this reel and didn't know what they were doing. And I get it, you know, I started somewhere too. So I was a little critical of that when I took this reel apart. This channel is about helping those people that have problems with getting reels back together or getting them apart. Sometimes you get in situations that are hard to figure out. And I don't want to lose touch of what started this channel. So if I offended anybody by that, I certainly apologize. You know, we're all here to learn together. I'm learning on these Baitrunners. You know, they are a different breed of reel, and a lot of people think, well, there's really not that much complicated about a Baitrunner and blah 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 blah. But it's got some little idiosyncrasies to it. This piece here is basically a spacer. It's got those teeth on it. Those teeth don't do anything. It goes in with the teeth down. There's a shim that goes in first. There might be a shim and a spacer on some of them, but that will go in just like that. This goes in with the gear, the cog or ratchet down. Oops, let it slip. bring this around. And it pops onto that pin. So now you have an anti-reverse mechanism. See there? We're going to bring it around to it rests on that one tooth. See, it's got a tooth missing in there. Take it back to that next tooth. And then you got two teeth on the rotor, and you got those two teeth on that. You need to line those up. Where this roller is right out here at about 10 o'clock. Okay? And then we're going to put the nut back on. I bought this reel off eBay. Full transparency there. It was a buy it now, $39. So if you're out there and it was your reel, I appreciate it. It's a nice reel. So I don't have the screw that's supposed to lock that, so I'm going to try to find one here. I don't know if I'll have one or not. But I'm going to find something because that's a critical piece. Closest thing I got is this screw here. I think it's going to be too long. We'll look at it here real quick and see. I could probably rob one out of another reel over here. I got a whole box of reels. Let's see. Just looks too long. We'll see if it'll go in there. No, I can get it in there and then just bring it back out and cut it off. Like I said, somebody took this reel apart and got a little lost on it. My first Baitrunner was the beginning of this channel, and I know I've mentioned that many times. Yeah, see, it won't go down far enough. So the screw itself is the perfect size. So let's see if we can lose the screw by cutting the end of it off. That's how I roll, man. Heard that, didn't you? All right. Now I got to get that thing back in there. This screw prevents that nut from backing off. Fixed. That part was missing. Let's see if this bail will trip now. See, it's got something not right. It's like it's not getting enough throw or something. Let's get it together and then Fix it then if we have to. Might be in for a little bit of a challenge on this one. Grease up where the crosswind gear goes. And I always put some grease on the crosswind gear. And put some grease at the ends of that, through that middle slide or groove, and on the slides. It goes in like that. Y'all with me? Now you gear. Put some grease on the gear. My bearings I got them off of Amazon. I just measured and ordered the bearings. Next is the axle. Let's give that some oil. We might be taking this all back apart here in just a minute. And you put that in until you get to those grooves. And then you got this piece here. There's two little forks on it. They go into those grooves and you rotate that around. And you put this screw in there. This holds the retainer into the crossline block. Okay. These little pegs are sticking up, and give them just a little bit of oil each. You got shims. It was 3 shims total plus a spacer. Put it together like that. They went on there. Here is your Baitrunner function, which has been sprayed down with the ballistol. And it goes in, goes over that shaft. And then take your hook tool and get a hold of that piece there and pop it in place. And then this whole unit slides down. A tab sticks up there and tab sticks up there. Make sure it goes on those. Spin it around. So if you got your handle up, yes, this will come around. It'll grab the Baitrunner clutch and pop it back in gear. Okay, looking good so far. This cover gets a bushing. I'm not going to put too much time and effort into those bushings because they will be going away probably within a few days. And it goes on like this. See a little speck of something right there. Piece of plastic. You got 4 screws. one small one, 3 bigger ones. Tighten those down. And before I put the handle, well, yeah, this can go ahead and go on this side. Only weird people crank on this side. That ought to get a few comments. Put you some grease on right here. Let's see how this thing does before we get too far along. A little stiff. That's those bushings. Okay, it's working now. That was not working before. Okay, it's a little stiff, but we'll fix that. That main bearing was bad, so I had to do what I had to do there. You can put your Baitrunner lever back on now. I think this is the coolest feature of this reel. It just looks cool. That goes on. And this one screw here, which you should probably put a little grease on, because if it gets corroded and breaks, the reel's done. You can occasionally find these on eBay, but not very often. They're very reel specific too. They go with the model reel it is. This won't work on a 4500 or whatever. You put that grease in there to protect those threads from salt intrusion. All right, we're going to wipe this reel down. I just think these are the prettiest of the Baitrunners. The colors, the gray and the black and the red is just all really nice. So it gets a little tight right down in there. Not sure why. Not sure why. That helped. Still a little tight right there, see? We'll address that when we do the bearings. Okay. Your drag stack. Gets one of the black washers first. You can use oil or grease here. Either one will be fine. You get grease, you get a keyed washer, another black washer, then an eared washer, then the white Teflon, and then your keyed washer. And that's Cal's universal drag, universal reel and star drag grease. I use it on every rod build, just about. The retainer for the drag, so this has a waterproof drag. This goes on here. This is a really nice seal. I mean, it's like this is industrial grade stuff here. And you'll get these little screws that go in. It retains the seal. And just screw those down to their 2-finger tight. And that drag seal seals out salt water coming in right here and around the drag knob. It goes around that boss right there. So we'll go ahead and put this in there. Oh, before I do that, make sure that line clicker is moving and give it a little bit of oil. And then put your drag washer on. Let's do a function test. Drag's working. Baitrunner feature's working. You can tighten that down to where it'll barely turn. Baitrunner is re-engaging. There's a little click in there every once in a while. I think it's that main bearing. It was in really bad shape, full of sand. This reel had been used, but not a lot. But there it is. That is a Baitrunner 450. That's first gen stuff right there. That's where it all kind of started. I've got both of the first year models, the 350 and the 450. So it'll be a lot smoother once I get the bearings in. I'm not going to do another video, show you how to put bearings in a reel. I think everybody knows how to do that by now. If not, just watch the video. And wherever I put a plastic bushing in, it's going to get a bearing. The main bearing will get replaced because it was bad. So that's pretty much all there is to it. See a little bit of grunge here and there. All right. Well, this is John, Vintage Fisherman. Thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe. I think I've become the new Baitrunner channel. I thought about venturing out and doing a whole separate channel just for the Baitrunners. But to do that, I will lose my views from YouTube, start another channel on this. And I really can't afford to lose that right now because I'm not quite to that point with YouTube, so we're just going to leave them on here. I did like 10 Baitrunners back to back to back. I've actually still got 2 more to go, and that'd get pretty boring for you all. So what I decided to do was, I'm building these things in July. I've decided to put a couple of them around my birthday, and then I'm going to spread the rest of them out over the next several months. Maybe one a month or something. Okay, well, this is John, Vintage Fisherman. Please have a great day and take a kid fishing today. That'd be cool. Thanks for watching.